Welcome to episode number 5. We're starting this challenge off with $3,010 and we're jumping to the 1-3 streets with a $400 buy-in. We have our names on the 2-5 as well. If the game's good, we'll jump into that, but it's a weekday, it probably won't be. Let's get straight into it. See you. Alright, straight into it, first hand. We did get an upgrade. We got a nice little Audio Technica mic, so I don't have to wear a headset anymore. Let me know if it sounds better. This is the very first hand we're dealt. We got 10-9 of hearts under the gun. Raise it up. Folds around to everyone. Looks like we're just going to get through, but the big blind does call. Flop's pretty good. We hit a lot of flops this session. Ace, Queen, 8, 2 hearts. Flop gut shot and a flush draw. He checks it to us. We don't block any aces or queens. He can call a big bet. So we're going to size up here, $20, and he makes the call. Turn's unbelievable. Jack of hearts. Straight flush on the very first hand. He checks it over to us. I always bet about half pot on monotone on 3 to a flush boards. So $35, and he jams. Nice. Of course we're calling. What is there to discuss? We call. He says he has ace queen and he mucks. So pretty sweet to win the first hand like that. Okay, on to the second hand. This is only a few hands later. We're in the small blind. Under the gun straddle is on and cutoff is raised to 15. Button is called. We're in the small blind. Queen 9 of clubs. I think you fold, call, maybe raise, but probably not. It's not really a squeeze hand. We decide to call, and the big blind and straddle both fold. So 3 ways to a flop, and we get middle pair. So king 9-7 on a pretty connected wet flop. We check it over to cut off. It bets 20. Button gets out of the way. People these stakes C bet like 100%. So we're definitely gonna call middle pair. Turn comes the 6 of diamonds, completing 10-8. We check it over to him. He checks back. Off to a river. Jack of diamonds, doesn't change too much. Queen 10 is now a straight, so we check it over to him, hoping he's going to check back and we're good. But he fires on a small bet of $25. I think versus sizing, we could possibly make a call, but we'll also have some Jack X that can call here. So I think with this hand, it's just got such good removal to his value. Not really so much his value, he's probably got a king here. But we block straights with the Queen 10. Block some 2 pairs and full houses, and we don't block spades. So I really like this hand as a bluff. So we do go ahead and raise it up to $90. And he just goes, I should have fucking bet. And it looks like he's gonna call, like anger call, but it gets through. He folds, and we're gonna take this hand down. Okay, we got the pocket aces under the gun, raise it up to 12, and the player to my left, who I thought was a reg, 3 bets us to $35. Folds back to us, and definitely gonna put in the 4 bet here. And against a reg, I will definitely have 4 bet bluffs here. So suited aces, ace jack, maybe ace queen off, possibly a king queen off here as well. So definitely do a bluffs mix in against this player. We're gonna raise it about 2.5x out of position. So I go ahead and make it $90. And he thinks for a bit and folds. Meh. So in this hand, the mid-position player is definitely a fun player. They don't really know what's going on, and we're trying to ISO a little bit lighter against him, but his stack is a little bit short. So we've got a mid-position low jack and high jack limp, and then we look down at king 10 offsuit on the button, and we squeeze to $20. I think the sizing should be a bit bigger, because the small blind comes along, mid-position comes along, low jack comes along, and so does a high jack, and now we're 5 ways to the flop in position with king 10 off. But flop comes down nice, 10-10-8 rainbow. Small blind checks, mid position player leads out. There you go, for $20. Everyone else folds, I make the call, and small blind folds. Turns a 4 of hearts, goes check check. I don't see any sense in betting here. I'm just gonna let him keep doing his thing. There's really no draws either. Like, river comes down to 7 of diamonds. Pretty inconsequential, unless he had jack 9, but whatever. He bets $50. I just go all in because he's only got 26 behind, and he thinks for quite a while and then folds. with 26 behind. I can't believe I didn't get paid. Okay, so this specific hand, the big blind is the player that 3-bet me when I had aces, and this is where I kind of thought, okay, maybe he's probably not a reg. Mid position opens to 15, low jack calls. I've got king queen off on his side on his squeeze play. I should be making around 80, but I make it 75 here, and he overcalls here. So this is a very strong range, right? This is at least jacks plus. Mid position folds, and the low jack, who's the fun player that folded for his last $26, calls. So we go 3 ways to a flop. Comes down 9-4-3. Big 3-bet pots. We're going to use that king of diamonds as a blocker if the board goes to 3 diamonds, and we're definitely going to bluff off with it. So we're going to kick this off with a small bet. Our hand is just, you know, anything aces, kings, queens. It's definitely going to want to bet here, so we got to have some bluffs. I bet 75, and the player to my left wastes no time in making it 225. This flop shouldn't hit him at all. Like, unless he's got pocket nines. So either I'm already, you know, the hand values haven't changed from before the flop to after the flop. So this is just a brutal raise for him to do here. He should just be calling 100%. But the low jack folds, and of course, we're just gonna let this one go. Yeah. Okay, so in this hand, we're against the button, who's the same player that we stacked when we turned the straight flush in the very first hand. So we've gone under the gun straddle, under the gun +1 calls the $6, folds around to the button who raises to $20 versus small sizing. Pocket 10s is definitely going to be a 3-bet. We bump it up to 75, and the under the gun straddler goes all in for 34. The under the gun +1 folds, and the button calls. So off to a flop, looking for a nice one. In the window's a king, next card's a jack, but the third card is a beautiful 10 of hearts. So we flop a set in a 3-bet pot, amazing. We are gonna size up here. This is a very wet flop, and it's a flop he's gonna connect with very well. If he's got 9s or lower, he's never putting in money anyways. We don't have to go too overboard, but I want to set up a turn shove. So I bet pretty big, $85, about like half pot. Yeah, just over half pot. It looks about right. And this guy loves his all-ins. He just goes, sticks it in for 375. We call. He's got ace king, and we're just looking to fade a queen here. An 8 of hearts, deuce of spades, very safe run out, and we are going to take down this nearly $1,000 pot. Okay, we're up against the fun player again. Button straddle is on. I hate these so much. We're in the small blind of 6s, definitely going to bump this up to $18. We get a call from the under the gun +1 player, and the fun player decides to jam short stack all in for $135. Folds back around to us, and this is like just over 20 big blinds with a pocket pair. It's a lot of dead money, and we don't, like, I think we only need like 25% equity here. I'm probably wrong, but I don't think it's that much to make the call. Yeah, so we go ahead, toss the call in, hoping that we're flipping, and we get shown pocket aces. We are going to lose this one, but I'm happy to give some money back to this fun player, so that is okay with me. Okay, under the gun straddle's on. We've got 7, 8 of diamonds next to act. We're gonna bump it up to $18. Folds all the way around to the small blind, who makes the call. So does the big blind and the straddler. So we are actually in position here. 4 ways to a flop, which comes out pretty good. 8, 7, 6, 2 clubs. So we flop top 2. Small blind leads out, pretty small. I'm a little bit worried about this. Big blind calls, I'm not so worried about that. And the under the gun, the straddler folds. So I know raising is probably the best play, but it just doesn't seem good. I'm going to take one off and see what develops on the turn, see what his bet sizing's like. So we call, hoping for a brick turn. We do get a deuce of spades, but it does bring another flush draw. He leads again, still really small though, $50. Big blind gets out the way, and he's got like 240-ish behind. You know, it's just over a pot size bet. So I think we're going to charge him the max if he wants to play. Even if he folds a hand like 8-9, that's such a huge win, right? I don't think he's got a straight release sizing, so we do go ahead and stick it all in. He tanks for quite a while, but ends up on a fold. So pretty nice to get that one through. So we've got ourselves a pretty good squeeze spot here. Mid positions raised to $10. $10 raises are almost never strong. Low jack's called, cutoff is called, button is called, small blind is called, and we have ace queen off in the big blind. Definitely gonna put in the squeeze play here. We make it $80, and it gets almost all the way through, but the button, with his $200 stack, decides to make the call. Just a call. Small blind gets out the way, so we're going to a flop, and we're pretty much just going to go all in on any flop. Like, there's 200 in the pot, he's got 124 behind. We get a pretty bad flop of 10-9-7, but we stick it in anyways. And unfortunately, he did flop a set, so he is going to continue here. And we are going to get stacked. Okay, we've got a hijack open to $20 after 2 limps. The button also calls, and we've got 8-6 of diamonds in the small blind. We make a pretty loosey-goosey call here. I just hate folding pre-flop. Big blind gets out the way, the under the gun +1 player calls, so does mid positions. We're 5 ways to a flop. Queen 7-5, 2 diamonds. We're just smashing every flop. We're gonna put in the check raise here, but unfortunately it checks all the way through. Turn's a good card though. It is the ace of clubs, so someone's definitely connected here, and we can definitely get our check raise in this time. Check it over. Mid position player bets $20, so small. Hijack calls, button folds. We're definitely gonna put in the raise here. We make it $110. We want to size up so we can shove the rivers. Under the gun gets out of the way, mid position gets out of the way, and hijack makes a pretty quick call. Against this player, I'm planning on giving up almost all rivers, but he does call. We're hoping to get there. We don't get any help. We got the 3 of spades, and my initial instinct was just to check and give up. I just don't think this player is going to fold an ace, but I just thought about more and more, and like, this is the worst hand that we could have here. We don't really block any of his draws because he would have bet these on the flop. So I think all things considered, I want to put max pressure on just a naked ace, which is exactly what he's got here, unless he has ace-3. And we go all in, and he tanks for quite a while. And eventually he says that, hey man, on the turn I put you on 6-4, so I guess my ace is no good. We get the other end of the straight, but he does make the fold, and we get that one through, which feels amazing. Okay, this hand, I just know you guys are gonna hate. Big blind, button straddles on for $6, big blind completes, and the under the gun player raises it up to $30, which is a huge open, and I'm generally pretty cautious around large sizings like this. Yeah, you know, it's not that much. We probably could get it all in pre-flop, but I just think we're getting dominated here too often, so I elect just a flat call. I know. Hijack makes a call, button gets out the way, big blind calls. So we are 4 ways to a flop, which comes out pretty good. It's 10-9-9, so we do flop an overpair. When it checks to the original raiser, he down bets to $40. Nice sizing, I like it. I call, and the big blind also calls. So 3 ways to the turn. 7 of hearts doesn't change too much. Jack 8 and 8-6 get there. Now there's a flush draw, pocket sevens. It just doesn't change too much. Big blind checks it over. And surprisingly, he puts in another bet, $110, which this is into 3 people on a multi-way flop that's paired. It just seems so strong, and I know I turned a gut shot, but I actually just fold and let this one go. I know it's crazy. And big blind also folds. And we'll never know. Except a few hours later, maybe like an hour later, this same person had a very similar spot. It was a $10 raise, $10 call. He raised to 30, got 4 ways to a flop, $120 flop. Queen 7-4 rainbow. And when it checked to him, he bet $125. So pretty much the size of the pot into the same amount of players as this hand. And so once the hand was finished, I looked at him like, you flopped a boat on that 10-9-9 hand, didn't you? And he has this like little giggle when you get it right. Every time he guesses hand after the hand's over, he has a little giggle. So he actually had pocket 10s here, and I believe him. This sounds right. So good fold, but bad pre-flop action. Yeah, on to the next. All right, we've got ace-4 of hearts in the low jack facing a limp. Definitely gonna bump it up, $15. We get 1 caller in the small blind, and then the big blind goes ahead and makes it $43. Very small 3-bet considering there's an overcaller and out of position. Middle position gets out the way. We're definitely calling here. And small blind surprisingly folds. So heads up to the flop, which comes down really, really, really nice. 5-4-4, 2 diamonds. And good news, he keeps betting 40 bucks. Really small bet, love it. We're gonna make the call here. Turn's not too great, it's the 5. It doesn't really change his hands, but he could slow down on this, as well as a 5. Another 5 on the river will just turn our hand to garbage. He keeps betting though, $70, nothing to do here but call. We don't want to push him off, you know, any kind of bluffs that he may have. And just hoping for a non-5, nothing too high on the river. It comes 7 of spades and he jams all in. We call and we crack his pocket jacks. Okay, so we've got a couple limps. The cutoff raises up to 15. We're on the button with 8-6 of clubs. Definitely going to play this hand. Could 3-bet, could call. I elect to call. And both limpers also make the call. So we're 4 ways to a flop. Comes down pretty good. King 7-5, 2 diamonds. We're going to got ourselves an open ender. It does check over to us, and we're definitely going to put in a small bet here. Start building the pot. 20 bucks. Mid position calls, and then the hijack goes all in with a short stack for 75. This is the guy that had pocket 7s. We had ace queen and stacked us. We're getting really good odds to draw here. We don't want to go over the top because we have a draw. And we still have to beat the hijack, so we'd love it if the mid position came in and then we made our hand, because there's no sense in bluffing anymore. So we just make the call, hoping middle position doesn't go over the top, and they actually fold. So onto a turn with the jack of diamonds, and river's the 8 of spades, so we make third pair, but he flopped top 2, so we are no good there. Alright, so we got a middle position limp. Hijack's raised it up to 15. We've got king jack of clubs in the cutoff, and we could 3-bet this, but the hijack is a bit short, and we'd just be getting it in, you know, 200 big blinds deep if we 3-bet and get shoved on. So I don't like that option. I just call for 15. Button calls, small blind calls, and we are 4 ways to a flop. It's all right. King 7-4 with the clubs. We've got backdoor flush draw, top pair, okay kicker. Checks, the hijack checks, which is a little bit weird. And I make a pretty big mistake here and bet $20. This hand is not strong enough to bet multi-way. This should definitely be my check range. Yeah, this is just a mistake. Folds around to the hijack, who just chips it all in. And now we've got a gross decision. And almost every time I see this, it's always ace-king. It's like never anything else. It's just ace-king. That's all I ever see. And I actually talk myself into a fold. And it's against our good friend with the giggles, and his friend goes, dude, that's 5-6, and he just starts giggling away, and we got bluffed by 6 high here. Nice hand, man, nice hand. Okay, this is the final hand of the session, literally the last one before we rack up, and our stack is $1,406, and we really want to book a 1K win, so that does play a bit into my river decision here, which it shouldn't, but it did. We get jack 10 of hearts, and I'm not even happy to see this. Like, I've got to play a hand now. Raise it up to 18. Our 1.4K stack is broken. Under the gun +1 calls. So does mid position player, as well as the button. So we are 4 ways to a flop, which comes down all right. Jack 6-5, 2 spades. We got top pair, okay kicker. Not looking to bet this into 4 people, so we are going to check this. Player to my left puts in a small bet of $30. And both players fold. So back to us, definitely gonna make the call here. Turn is the 6 of clubs. We check it over. In theory, they should be checking on this card a lot, but in live poker, they almost never do. So when he checks back, it just feels weird. Like, I don't understand what hands would want to bet flop and then check turn, because he doesn't ever think I have trips here. Right? If he's got ace jack, he wants to keep betting. If he's got 7-8 or any of the flush draws, he's gonna want to keep betting. So I'm really weirded out by this check, and it just feels like 7s through 10s here to be checking this. On the river's the queen of hearts. We check it over to him, and he puts in another really small bet of $60. And normally I would just fold this, but just something feels off. Like, this is no longer 7s to 10s that's betting this. He would not bet a jack here. He would continue with pocket 5s on the turn, I think. He might not. So I'm like, I literally cannot put him on any hand that he could have, bluff or value. And I'm like, the only way I'm leaving here up 1K is if I call. So that factored in my decision. I just could not picture any hands he had. So I toss in the call and we get shown quads, which actually makes sense. I didn't even think of quads, but that makes sense. Yeah, we're not going to win a 1K this session, but we did book an almost $900 win, even with a $60 giveaway. I'm very happy with this session. That is it for the hands. See you in the outro. Wrapping up episode 5 here, in for 400, out for like just under 1,300 for a nearly $900 win. We had a small $75 loss a few days ago, so the bankroll now is sitting pretty at $3,828. This is the biggest win of the vlog. I'm gonna go enjoy the sunset. You guys have a great night. See you in the next one.